This week from GNC Week in Review, powered by GeekNewsCentral.com. Xbox Series X and S launches, and possibly V. Motorola unveils a new 5G Razr, and Verizon unveils a 5G hotspot, and it could be yours for $400. Those are some of the tech news stories from this week. It's Friday, September 11th, 2020. My name is Kirk Corliss, along with
Scudderts.
He's back. Woohoo! And this is episode 70 of the GNC Week in Review podcast, part of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Thank you so much for tuning in. For this week's episode, we are streaming live at gncweekly.com/live, as well as Facebook Live. Apparently, StreamYard has some issues, and hopefully I'll bring the video up when it's on live right now. Speaking of technical issues that Scott had earlier. So please be sure to say hello in chat or comment. Also, be sure to like and subscribe to the GNC WIR channel on YouTube. If you missed a live video, that's okay. You can always catch the replay later. If you are a new listener, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast. We can find in the right-hand side column at gncweekly.com, be it Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, your favorite podcast app, or your favorite podcast app. If you have a comment, be it on social media or email, and those links can all be found at gncweekly.com/connect. Scott, it's great to see you in the new studio and the new abode.
Well, technically, for people who are longtime viewers of F5 Live, you will recognize my current setup as our very first video setup from like 8.5 years ago. This is obviously a temporary setup. I am looking at the bits and pieces for the studio right there, but I wanted to make sure that I was ready for tonight. So it'll look like the old studio on Sunday, and then hopefully next week the new one. I'm looking at the bits and pieces for that.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw F5 Live a few years ago. I think it was maybe more than that, 2-3 years ago, maybe longer. I remember it was the curtains that were brown, or it was like there was like long brown curtains, and your guys were you, Alante, and I can't remember the other two people that were off the top of my head.
Nick and John.
Right. And you were like, really, you guys were crammed into like this long table, and it was like looked like a tight fit. So
keep talking. Hold on.
Okay. Oh, jeez. Oh, this should be interesting. Oh, what the heck is? Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can.
Those are those curtains.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. I remember it was brown or something like that, but you guys were
dark blue with a gradient to them. They were they're the old curtains behind the TVs at Radio Shack.
Oh, geez.
In fairness, so are these.
Okay.
But these are the second generation after RCA went away.
Got it. Okay. Fair enough.
But I mean, when you take into consideration how much of my studio is Radio Shack, even the desk is an old counter.
Oh, gee. Hey, well, when they the old saying, another man's trash is another man's treasure. So, hey, what the hell,
There's about $4,000 worth of desk I have in here.
Oh, my goodness.
I couldn't have paid for that.
Right. It cost $4,000. It cost really $4,000
just for half the counter for one of the upgrade stores.
Okay.
Yeah, they were crazy. Anyway.
Okay, moving on.
It's good to be back. It's good to be in the new studio, even though it doesn't look like the new studio. It looks like the oldest studio I've ever had. But I was going to apologize for looking like I was coming from your local public access station. Because I've definitely got the lights up that we used at CES. which
Right.
are really great for an already bright room. Not so much for this, because these are lime green. Like, these curtains are about the same color, for those of you watching,
Yeah.
as the little bar at the bottom that says GNC Week in Review, episode number 70.
Mm.
They're almost exactly the
And I think we lost you for a second.
same color.
Oh, geez. Okay. There was a little bit of get stopped halfway for about a second. So, okay. Well, I'm glad to see you back. I'm glad you're in the new abode and slash studio. So good to be back. And I cannot wait to see you guys, you and Avram on Sunday, because I know that you got a lot to discuss and talk about, and so things and it's going to be very interesting because Scott's signal or the stream stopped. So okay, all right. So let's jump in. There's a lot of jump in with the news from this week, and also some announcements. Also, so first up, and I know Scott's excited about this, but there's so Microsoft is announced their new Xbox Series S and X. Starting with the S, the $299 next gen console will arrive on November 10th. It's designed to have a more affordable option for 1440p gaming. Liz Hamren, head of platform engineering and hardware at Xbox, says, quote, Xbox Series S delivers 4 times the processing power of an Xbox One console and supports experiences up to 120 frames per second. The primary difference between Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S is in resolution. Through talking to our customers, we found that many of our fans prioritize frame rate or resolution. So we wanted to build a console that didn't require a 4K TV, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people are happy about that. The Xbox Series S has 20 CUs at 1.565 gigahertz, which calculates up to 2 teraflops of performance. Wow. Compared to the 2.5 teraflops found on a larger Xbox Series X.
Which is ridiculous.
Right. There is a obvious power gap, but Microsoft is targeting the Xbox Series S at 1080p or 1440p monitors and TVs, so you don't need the same GPU power required for things like 4K gaming. Microsoft is using a hardware scaler on the Xbox Series S to scale up games for 4K on TVs, and he's see. This is why I'm glad Scott's happy, because I knew this was good news. See, this is why, when we are pulling up the lineup, I'll make sure that I get all the Microsoft things up front and close and personal, and putting a shot across the arrow to Sony. There's also even full hardware support for AMD's latest RDNA 2 feature set, including hardware accelerated ray tracing, mesh shaders, and variable rate shading. Xbox Series S includes 10 gigs of GDDR6 memory running at 224 gigabytes compared to the 16 gigabyte of GDDR6 found on the Xbox Series X. Also, the Series X is arriving on November 10th for $499. It'll also be available via Xbox All Access, a bundle which includes the System Game Pass Ultimate for $34.99 a month, or 24 months. And no matter which console you're getting, the company is also sweetening the pot by offering EA access for free as part of Game Pass, which grants consoles and Windows PC players access to over 60 EA titles like Mass Effect and Battlefield. So,
which is a huge deal.
Right. So walk us through with this obscene amount of teraflops, and what is this is really like unbelievable news.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on here. First, we knew most of the specs on the Series X for like 6 months, but we did not know officially that the Series S even existed. We have all known that the Series S existed.
Mhm.
Nobody is dumb. We all we all knew that Microsoft was not going to come out with just the high end. There had to be a standard consumer console in the mix as well. And there were rumors about it. And then this week, the rumor included box art. It included a picture of the console. It included the price of the console and even a release date. And so Microsoft, while Phil Spencer is mad because he was looking forward to his big event next week, that he can't have now because it doesn't matter. Microsoft did confirm, and they said, all right, so since we're confirming the S, let's just go ahead and let's do this. Here's what we've got. We've got the Series S, which is even smaller than an Xbox One. It's physically smaller. It is significantly more powerful. It has dropped, obviously, Kinect support, just like the X. And it's also dropped optical fiber optic audio, just like the X. So the ports on the back are very minimal, but that's because we're finally at a point where minimal ports is what we need.
Right.
Nobody's using fiber optic anymore. The last time I used fiber optic on anything was the 360 and the PlayStation 3. And that's just because they performed better than the HDMI audio. That's not the case anymore. And so we're basically down to Ethernet and HDMI, which is fine with me. The S is significantly more powerful than any of the Xbox Ones, and the X makes the S look like a kid's toy. It is unbelievably powerful, and spec to spec, it makes the Xbox Series X makes the PlayStation 5 look like a kid's toy, because the PlayStation 5 and the Series S are give or take about the same console, except that the video card for the PlayStation 5 is 4K native instead of 4K upscaled. But I mean, it's a huge deal to finally have confirmation on the S, because that's a great middle ground between an Xbox One and an Xbox Series X. We needed a nice middle ground, and so that S is perfect at $299. That's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
And it also doesn't have optical, so that's an important thing to know about the Series S. There's no optical port, so it's just like the Xbox One S, all digital, in that there is no disk drive. You will be purchasing all of your games from the Microsoft Store.
Okay. So why? So because also too there's a in the news, and there was a rumor floating about that there's going to be a Series V, and they're saying that it could be all digital. So what's the reasoning behind this? Now again, this is a rumor that was apparently from this Twitter user Idle Sloth, great name, that he said, or he or she, we don't know who this person is, but stating that the Series V would fit between the S and X in terms of power, but also this rumor stating that it might go to all digital. So if the X and S is digital, the V is going to be just another component,
maybe if there's a V. Okay, that's funny. Sorry. If there's a V, the only thing that I can figure, I'm trying to look for some information on it while we're talking.
Yeah.
If it exists, what it would be, if I had to guess, would be the equivalent of the Xbox Series X all digital edition. If they were going to do something, it would be like the X. It would probably be 4K, but without the optical drive. Okay, that's my guess.
Okay, so if you were playing Microsoft God, you would think that. Well, isn't there? Are they taking a play? And if I'm wrong, if I'm wrong about this, isn't it taking the play from Google Stadia, which is supposedly all digital, but
Stadia is all streamed.
okay.
So that means that you're not downloading anything to your device. You're not running software on your device. You're streaming the game. That is what Project xCloud is.
Okay.
Or what will be called Game Pass, or I think is already called Game Pass. I don't remember.
I know.
Game Pass game streaming or something like that. It's something to that effect.
Okay.
So my Xbox does have an equivalent of that as well.
Okay.
But it is hardware independent. I can use it on this phone right here.
Right.
I can use it on any Android device, and we'll be able to use it on PC as well.
Okay.
And just so that we put into perspective how small the Xbox Series S is, because it is almost comically small. Phil Spencer did a YouTube video on July 1st, and it was in the frame, and nobody knew it was there. It looks like a book on his shelf.
Didn't I see some of the pictures flying around that it looks like someone put like photoshopped an Oreo cookie in the middle of it?
It looks like if you look at it just head on, it looks a lot like a front-loading washing machine.
Okay, I'm watching the video right now. I'm going to pull up. The Google Images. Give me a couple seconds here.
But I can't believe this. I can't believe I watched this video with Phil Spencer from the beginning of July. And that damn console was in the frame the whole time, and we had no idea it was there. Wow, that is so funny.
Yeah, this is where I saw this. There's a couple of screens up, but I saw one posted somewhere that someone, I can't remember what site it was, but someone put an Oreo cookie, and it was like it was blowing up. It was really hysterical. All right.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. There are so many jokes about the design of it, and the thing that's really funny is that Microsoft actually posted on the Windows Store, the Microsoft Store Facebook page this week. They said, you've memed the design, now let's go inside. And they did a whole like, here's how the inside of the console works. It was such a cool idea for them to full on address the fact that people have made fun of the design. And they're like, you know what? We don't care. Here's how it works. It was such a cool idea. I was really proud of them for it. It was whoever's doing marketing for this is brilliant. So the thing that makes all of this interesting is that the leak has put Sony in the power position again.
Yep.
Same thing that happened last time. But here's the thing. They're only releasing one console. Microsoft is releasing two.
Right.
Guaranteed, we know. Yeah. Guaranteed, we know that there are two coming. And so even if Sony were to decide to try and do what they did last time and drop it by $100 and stop including something, they're not going to get it down to 300. Best case scenario, they get it to 4. And so that puts Microsoft in a great position to have a $300 console for the next gen. They're in a really good place right now, I think.
Oh, absolutely. And if I was a gamer, I mean, I was a gamer, like, I don't want to show my age, but but if I was going back to gaming, I would certainly buy this hands down.
I love the little white console. I'm a big fan of white consoles. I have a launch day 360 that's white. I got the special edition Xbox One for what was the game? Sunset Overdrive. Not because I wanted the game, but because I wanted the white console. And so an Xbox Series S is definitely getting added to my collection because it's another white console. I don't know what it is. I mean, here I sit with a white phone too. There's something about white devices. They stand out in a way that I really like.
Well, for me, I would go with the black. I always had like I have a I have a Google Pixel, and it's black.
Mhm.
So for whatever reason, I have everything, like my car's black.
Okay.
So me personally, and I like you. I mean, I don't know why I like it, but I guess I guess different strokes for different folks, I guess.
Now in fairness, I do have a black Xbox 360 and a black Xbox One
But if you were to
as
choose,
well.
but if you were to
But
choose, you would go with the white. You would go with the
the
white.
white one is what is in my main entertainment center. The other ones are dispersed.
Okay.
Something about a white console. I don't know. When I pair it up with the black surround sound system, I think it's that pairing that I like. I don't know.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes, and it's basically, again, like I said before earlier, it's a shot across the bow to Sony, because Sony's PS5, it's been announced, and then it was pulled back, then they're going to announce it, then they have to make changes, it's been like that. And also too, it's like we're in prime holiday season right now. It's September 11th, so we're less than 2 months away. Early, holiday season, because a lot of people do their holiday shopping, way early. So again, this is also good for Microsoft. They're saying they're all in, and they're like, for early Black Friday shopping, it's like, and they're now announcing this at the right time, time, versus announcing it like let's say next month, where it's not going to be, I don't know, but this is a perfect time. They did it perfectly.
Yeah, they wanted it to be next week. They were just waiting a couple more days. They wanted, to be fair, they wanted to separate it from this guy here, from the Surface Duo. They wanted to separate the events, but the leak happened. It happened on like the 9th.
Right.
It happened at 11 p.m. on the 9th, and by 3 a.m. Microsoft had confirmed it. And by yesterday afternoon, they had started posting videos.
Yep. And that's when the memes came out, and the Oreo. The best, like I said, when I saw that Oreo cookie, I was like, I was gonna DM you when I saw it, but I totally forgot. So
I saw somebody compare it to a fencing mask.
Oh jeez.
and
that's original. I like that.
That's fine, because people made fun of the X as well, and you know what? Now everybody loves the design of the X. So. And
I like it too.
And once they got a clue, like this Phil Spencer thing, seeing it in context compared to books next to it, and knowing that we've been looking at this, watching this video for 2 months, 2.5 months this video has been out. We've been watching this video, and nobody has even noticed it back there because it's as small as a book. That's unbelievable. I can't wait to have my hands on one.
All right. Yeah, I would love to hear when you get it. But do you know when you already did you do? I'm sorry, I don't order yet. So
it goes into pre-order this coming week.
Okay,
if I remember correctly, I think it goes September 14th.
Right.
Because again, they wanted to separate it from, because the event was supposed to be next week.
Right.
So pre-orders, I think, go into effect next week or the beginning of the week after, and then it'll arrive on November 10th. Right. And I will for sure have one that day, maybe a little earlier. We'll see if we can talk them out of one.
Yeah, definitely. And definitely, I like to hear your hands-on review of it, and or post it on post it on Plug It's Live.
I'm doing a lot of them right now. It's why this thing's in front of me for the show tonight. I'd rather have the bigger screen for the show, but I'm enjoying this right now.
So I see. But I also like to find out again, with the Series V, and and this, I mean,
if that thing happens,
if it happens, that's going to basically put Microsoft over the top and then some, with a
$300, $400, and $500 price point, with a 4K with and without optical drive. It would be a brilliant move to have all three options. Whether they'll have it at launch, I don't know. Whether they'll call it V or Xbox
Special Edition
Series X all digital, like they did with the Xbox One S all digital,
right?
Which is what it was called. I don't know, but It'll happen at some point for sure.
Right, and we're going to keep an eye on that for sure. For definitely, because I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen next with Microsoft.
But it's definitely important to note if you've got old games, because backwards compatibility is what the name of the game is here. It's all about backwards compatibility. But unless you bought the games through the store, an S isn't going to do you any good. If you've got physical discs, you got to have the X to do backwards compatibility.
Right.
Because you got to verify your ownership. So keep that in mind.
Right. Right. Like I said, if I was a gamer, believe me, because I'm busy with work and everything else. So believe me, I know you too. So
I've got hundreds of games I haven't played.
So see, there you go. But if I had the room and I'll be all in. But all right, we'll see. We'll to be continued.
Yes.
All right. Next, in other news and other announcements, Motorola. Now we talked about the Motorola Razr, the first Motorola Razr, I think a month or so ago. Now they're trying to redeem itself with a second generation Razr, which adds 5G support, better cameras, and more useful software. The design of the new Razr looks similar to the original foldable. There is a 6.2-inch 21.9 by 9 foldable display on the inside of the phone, while a 2.7-inch OLED quick view display on the outside allows for access to notifications and other basic functionality. It comes with a high price tag, which is $1,399. The processor,
same price as this one.
Right. The processor.
That's just your base rate for a foldable phone right now.
I still think that's a lot of cabbage.
Agreed.
The processor is a faster Snapdragon 765G, which adds the 5G support. RAM has increased to 8 gig versus from 6 gig on original.
That's a 33% increase. That's a big deal.
The internal storage has doubled to 256 gig, and the battery is a larger 2800 milliamp battery. There's
a big problem with the first one.
Right. There's also some changes with the hardware, the shifting of the fingerprint sensor, the back of the phone.
It's a better idea.
Right. And the new Razr will only support sub 6 gigahertz networks, not the faster Wave variant.
Okay.
Verizon, it'll be sold unlocked, as well as be through AT&T and T-Mobile. Verizon, unfortunately, is not getting it because of lack of Wave support. So I cannot, again, I cannot justify, for me personally, justify a foldable phone. Again, we talked about this in the prior episode, of the Razr, but I cannot justify a foldable phone for $1,400.
Yeah,
I can't.
Especially when you take into consideration all the problems that we've seen with traditional foldable phones. With that screen that folds, but not quite, because the screen in the middle is not really exactly screen real estate the way you expect it to be.
Right.
It's there's still a seam in it. It's hard because nobody has put in the work to make that useful. I've looked at what are the things that a consumer is going to use. I understand it's not a consumer phone, but let's talk about a consumer phone.
Right.
Let's look at it from the perspective of Pokemon Go. Right. That's the thing. That's one of the most common apps across all platforms right now. And it looks comical. It looks like somebody's playing a prank. It looks like a joke. It looks terrible. Because most apps aren't designed to scale to a screen that size. And so when you're dealing with games and stuff, they look honest to God stupid because they're not designed for that.
It's not really the games. It's the games, but also the one thing that people have with their phones from one end of the phone spectrum to the other is the camera. And every review that I saw online, The Verge, Android Central, Marquez Brownlee, MKBHD. They are like they're raving about the phone that has some great features. The processor's great. The battery's great on it. All the functionality, but the camera is so lackluster.
Mm-hmm.
And the quality when you take a picture on a foldable screen, it doesn't, like with the apps, it doesn't scale correctly, and you're missing a lot of the quality on a regular smartphone.
Especially in the center.
Yes.
Right across that seam where it's not really screen real estate.
Mm-hmm.
It is, but it's not the same screen as the rest of it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It looks terrible.
Right.
I've had my hands on basically all of them at this point. I've not had necessarily extended access to all of them, but I've at least had my hands on all of them. And it's that center. That center kills me.
Mm-hmm. Be it the hinge or the what is that other part called? Not the hinge, but there's, I think it's word I can't remember the name of it. They were talking about it, how it was, they named it not a hinge, but it was something else they named it. I can't remember what it was. Okay, never mind.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm just trying to think of the name that someone termed in it, and I didn't understand it. But it's like
it's like your knee pit, right? it's like where your knee bends and nothing looks quite right. Your leg looks totally normal except on the inside of your knee, where it looks goofy and the color's different, and it's exactly the same. The color's different. It doesn't look like the same thing because it's not the same thing. It's terrible.
Right.
It's the reason why I'm glad that this is the device that I'm getting extended time with, because they didn't try and play that game. They're like, there's a seam in the middle.
That's it. That's what I was. I'm sorry. That's what I was thinking about. Seam. That's what
the seam.
Yeah, the seam. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah, and
I knew it was gonna.
In this case, they're just like, yeah, there's a seam. Deal with it. We're not going to try and pretend that we can put something there because you're going to hate what we put there. It looks terrible, so we're not going to even bother. Makes sense to me.
Right.
If you can't do it right, don't do it.
Right.
So, yeah, I think this will go over just as well as the original Razr. However, I do like the idea that it's like the original Razr.
Right. That's what we were talking about before.
In that it has the external caller ID screen.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Yep.
That's such an old idea that went away. And I'm so glad that if you're going to do a foldable phone, I think everybody going forward, every manufacturer, listen, if you're going to do a foldable phone, let's do it like a flip phone. Let's put a quick view screen. Let's put a caller ID screen on the outside, please.
Yeah, that's what we talked about in the last episode when they first came out, and I agree. I would have. My wife had one. I was going to get one, but I was like, but the more I think about it, I was like, wow, I've been like kicking myself getting one. But then with the latest announcements with the foldable phones now, the Galaxy Fold and the OMG, I'm like, and I saw that I'm looking at the price and I'm like, oh, it's just like it's a, I'm like I was like, wow, I mean, it's like, can't they like, and Samsung's going all in. They were like, we're going to like, but it's just still, I mean, I cannot justify if it had the features and it was scalable and the apps, like you said earlier, but also the camera, because I mean, when I use my camera, every person that I know, you included, takes pictures of God knows. I mean, they post on. I don't use Instagram, but every photo, like you see, every person has their phone out, their smartphone out, and that's the one thing out of games. I mean, games is like the one thing that they use. Yeah, totally agree. But with that being said, that camera is like the next thing, the next go-to.
Yeah, a crappy camera will ruin a device.
Exactly. And that's why when the reviews came out, they were like gushing over the features. They were gushing over but the one thing that was like spent so much time on was the camera. And they was like, And they're saying, well, if you want to get it for the apps and that's great, but if you want it for the camera, go someplace else. So
Makes sense.
So my thing from manufacturers is that A, lower for the price, but B, do something with the get something with the camera. So
yeah.
All right. Very good. All right. Other news this week. There's some Verizon news this week. Verizon has announced a new 5G hotspot for homes and businesses. The Inseego MiFi, and if I mispronounce it, I apologize. M2100 costs $400 or $16.60 per month for 24 months. The prior 5G hotspot from Verizon cost $650. So, okay, $200 difference. Still, it's costly. The new device has a better screen and can support low-band spectrum that's coming soon, in addition to the high-band 5G spectrum supported by both.
Okay.
Verizon's new 5G hotspot can link up to 30 devices via Wi-Fi 6.
Ooh, Wi-Fi 6.
Mm-hmm. And connects to both Verizon's 5G network and 4G LTE network. With a direct tether to the modem, use its USB-C port, which I'm like, woohoo. You can get access to the 5G network on your phone, tablet, or laptop. This is great news.
Wow.
This is great news. But unfortunately, in my neck of the woods, I can't get it because 5G is not available in Jersey.
Yeah. But so there's a couple of interesting things here. First, Wi-Fi 6.
Mm-hmm.
Shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you've got a Wi-Fi 6 computer and a Wi-Fi 6 MiFi, the speeds are ridiculous. I did at CES last year, I did a VR demo over Wi-Fi 6. I played a VR game using Wi-Fi, which is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked. If you didn't know that you were on Wi-Fi, you wouldn't have known. So you've got Wi-Fi 6. So your speed between the devices, because it's still a Wi-Fi network, so you can still talk between the devices.
Right.
So your speed between the devices is going to be comically fast. And then with 5G, your speed external could be really fast too. That's a cool device. Do we know what the cost on service is on this guy?
Oh, I don't. No, there wasn't news on.
Because I can guarantee it's not going to be $10 a month.
No, because I'm spending. Because I have Verizon Wireless, and I think I'm spending $30. No, not 30, 50 for internet. But also too, I'm using 99% of the time I'm on Wi-Fi. So, but I can imagine that if it's going to be at least maybe $50, maybe more. I would imagine.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But again, it's great that they're coming out with this, but also too, they're hopefully rolling out 5G more, because if that's the case, and if I can get a laptop, that has Wi-Fi 6, and I can run this, we can run this podcast on here. Well, I know you have 1 gig, you got better internet than me, but but I mean, if I can get this, to like, to network and just get a tether to it, OMG, I'll be happy puppy.
Yeah, the hardwire option is awesome.
Right.
I love the idea that there's hardwire. It's a shame that there's not Ethernet on it, but that's okay.
Yeah. But I can
bridge a USB-C network connection to an Ethernet and turn a computer into a bridge.
Nice. That'd be awesome.
I have absolutely done that before.
I believe you did.
I needed to turn a public Wi-Fi that I had one connection to in a hotel in Vegas one time into multiple devices. So I brought my own router. I used an old Surface Pro and the dock, and I used the Wi-Fi to Ethernet. I did a bridge between them, and it went out to the router, and now I had my own internet connection.
I had a feeling that you were gonna do that.
It's like your little single code at the plaza, guys, isn't gonna stop. No, it wasn't the plaza, it was the Stratosphere at the time.
Okay.
It's not gonna stop me.
No, not
You
you.
can have one device, and everything after that's gonna cost $5 a day. Oh yeah? You sure about that?
Oh boy. Well, speaking of Vegas and other news, media and folks and myself and Todd and Scott and everybody on the Tech Podcast Network probably more likely got this email that CS 2021 is all virtual. They updated they're changing their dates. It'll be Monday, January 11th through Thursday, January 14th. January 11th, exclusive media only access. January 12th and 13th, they have exhibitor showcase and conference programming. And January 14th is conference programming. So I imagine with, I don't know how they're going to fit in Eureka Park in between January 12th and 13th. So I and a lot of people, I know Scott is too, bummed that it's going to be virtual. But what I was really excited about that broke, I think yesterday, I believe. I'm not sure. Let me see. Let me make sure I got my facts right, because was it updated to 10th? Yeah, it was. It was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. Verizon Chairman and CEO Hans Vestberg will deliver the CES 2021 kickoff keynote address. He'll be discussing 5G as the framework for the 21st century, the essential tech of the present and the accelerated tech of the future to make our global community forward, such as telemedicine, teleeducation, and more. So I'm excited because I was at CES 2018. He was doing a keynote, and I was up in the closet. I was in the closet running as producer, watching and doing the lower third and everything. And he had the keynote, and I really wanted to interview him and I couldn't make it. But this year I'm going to do, if anyone from Verizon is watching our episode or listening to the podcast, so please gncweekly.com/connect, because I would love to do, Scott and I would love to do an interview. Hopefully, when CS comes around, there'll be more information what's going to happen and the planning works. But I really want to have an interview with him. Really want to interview with him, because I want to talk about like what's going to happen, not necessarily 5G, but how they handled, with the pandemic, and how things like migrate the people working from home and the workforce, and how they managed to like keep everybody connected. And it just, I would love to like it is, to
not have the network implode.
Right. Exactly. So I'm just kind of curious to pick his brain, so I'm asking anyone that knows someone or someone in their media relations department or whomever. I'm going to do my due diligence, to as far as being part of the Tech Podcast Network and with Geek News Central, and us with Scott and I with GNC Week in Review. I'm going to do my utmost diligence to see if I can reach out to have an interview, on, have the interview live, in the beginning of the episode, because I know he's a busy man. So I would like to see, during that week, on that Friday, we do a wrap up of the week. I would love to have an interview with him, talk about some things. So we'll see what happens. So fingers crossed. All right. In other news this week, Amazon is rolling out a new partnership with AT&T that will let customers link their phone numbers to their, I'm going to spell it because I don't want to say it, Alexa account.
Alexa.
If you set off any of the devices, let me make sure here. Hold on.
Hey, Alexa, what time is it?
Let's see. Make sure not moving my. Nope. I'm good. I'm good. Hold on.
I love doing that.
I know.
I love doing that.
So if there's any devices that get set off, because
It's on
yeah.
me. I did it. It's fun. There's that episode of South Park where they did it like 40 times in a 22-minute episode.
Well, I have headphones on, so I'm like, get some my speakers on, but I think I did have the app. Nope, it's on there. Okay, cool. Okay, all right. This is an expansion of Amazon's existing the heck with it Alexa calling features, which the company debuted in 2017 that allowed Echo devices to call mobile numbers and landlines for free. The difference here is that Amazon is working much more closely with AT&T, giving customers the opportunity to use their Echo devices in the same way they use the regular AT&T phones. So, for information on how to link the account, your AT&T account, the link will be in the show notes on gncweekly.com. Good on them.
Interesting. So it's more than just false caller ID, like what it does now and what Skype does.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can make a phone call from my Cortana speaker, and it'll go out through Skype, but it shows up as the phone over here, even though it's got nothing to do with that. So it's more than that. It's somehow like directly integrated with AT&T. That's a fascinating idea. I wonder what the big difference will be. I can't wait to dive into this because this is an AT&T device. So I can't wait to dive into what all that means.
Do you think, maybe even playing devil's advocate, do you think that this will be any security concerns, or because Amazon
depends on how close the oh, I see. It's going to depend on how close the integration is. It looks like it's pretty close because one of the commands that you can use is answer. So if somebody is calling your number, you can answer it from your Echo. Now that's the thing.
Okay, that's what because I know that you're the security guru, ex-guru as well. So I was kind of curious because it is great to do that, but with Amazon's huge reach and pull when it comes to knowing
the fact that they just hired the former head of the NSA as a member of their board of directors.
I was just about to. Yep. Exactly. And I was just about to. Yep. That was a report, I think, yesterday or the day before, I believe. Yeah. And actually, I put that in the Todd on Geek News Central. I had that in the. So if you go back to the Thursday's episode, which was yesterday, excuse me, there's Todd has the information on that, news on that. Yeah.
This is similar to the Sprint integration with Google Voice. That probably doesn't exist anymore since Sprint doesn't really exist. But there was a relationship between Sprint and Google Voice where you could have it. So if somebody called your Sprint phone number, you could have it ring through Google Voice, which meant you could have other devices. You could have computers. You could have other things ring in addition to your Sprint device. And it sounds like this is the same thing, but for Amazon and AT&T. It's an interesting idea. It's frightening.
And that goes back to the privacy implications. That's what I was like. I mean, it's a good idea, but ... All right. Speaking in other Amazon news, on the flip side of troubling news, Amazon has been accused of price gouging on essential items like toilet paper and antibacterial soap. This is a report from consumers' rights group Public Citizen. The report analyzed over a dozen products, including those sold by third-party sellers and items listed as, quote, sold by Amazon. It found that between the months of May and August, price on some items more than quadruple in price, seemingly breaking Amazon's own Amazon's own fair pricing policy. Apparently, according to a report, Amazon said that there was, quote, no place for price gouging on its service, including on products it sells directly. A spokesperson says, quote, our systems are designed to offer customers the best available online price, and if we see an error, we work quickly to fix it. According to Public Citizen, items listed as, quote, sold by Amazon saw price increases of anywhere from 48% for hand sanitizer, a product category that Amazon said had placed restrictions back in March, to 1,000% for packs of disposable face masks. In the case of toilet paper,
it went from like $3 to $32.50 or something. That's insane.
That's insane. That's insane. And in the case of toilet paper, the nonprofit group said it found a pack of 8 rolls being sold for $36.39 back in June, while other retailers have charged for $6.89 for the same product. One bottle, this is amazing, one bottle of antibacterial soap was listed as high as $7 compared to a low of $1.49, which was increase of 470%. Can you say OMG? As well as investigated 10 essential items listed as sold by Amazon. The report also analyzed 8 items sold by third-party sellers. Such sellers account for a quarter of Amazon's online retail revenue. This is according to its most recent earnings report. Public Citizen found increases up to 274% for antibacterial soap and 941% for flour. What?
Yeah.
For flour?
Yes.
For flour. In a statement, a spokesperson from Amazon said a Public Citizen report has identified a small number of pricing errors. They said that Amazon had removed, quote, over 1 million offers for attempted price gouging and suspended over 10,000 selling accounts. Good on them.
Yeah.
The spokesperson says, continues, quote, we have referred the most egregious offenders to federal and state law enforcement across the country to hold them accountable. We continue to actively monitor our store and remove offers that violate our privacies. Good on them, but
Amazon has been really good at working with local, state, and federal law enforcement on price gouging. But there's a couple things to remember here. The first is that Amazon's prices are not hand determined; they're AI determined. So if there's price gouging, it's because of market shifts. Something caused it to happen. Now, humans monitor and go looking for weird things, which is why these things tend to be corrected fairly quickly. They usually don't last more than a day or two before they're corrected. But Amazon's prices for their own stuff is AI generated. They crawl the web, they look for other places selling the thing, and they try to beat it if they can without losing money on the deal. So yes, if there's price gouging, it's a computer's fault. But when you're purchasing on Amazon, and I know this is going to be a weird thing to say, I love saying it. Remember the name camel.com. I know that's a weird thing for me to say to remember, but if you go,
I have it bookmarked.
If you go to camel.com and you put in the URL for the Amazon product, you can see a price history on the product. So you can see if something is wrong with the price right now. If you look at it and you're like, that seems like a lot of money for that thing, or that seems way too inexpensive. Either way, go throw it into the camel, and it'll tell you what the price has been over like the last 90 days, so you can see if there's something wrong. And I don't buy anything on Amazon without throwing it through there.
Oh, I can vouch for it as well, because I remember watching. I heard about it. I was watching. Okay. No, I saw that someone. There was a tech show a couple years ago that mentioned it and showed like how the price trended for TVs, electronics, and it shows you what in the right time to buy. And ever since then, I bookmarked it, and
Mhm.
I do this. I do the same thing. I will make sure, because make sure that it's good. But also, too, what I look at Amazon as well, and also, it's really fun. It's really funny where you say camel, 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 and you say it like it's whoever whoever got that domain name, good on them.
And I get it, because you're looking at price graphs, you're looking at humps. I get the name, but it is
Right.
weird.
Right.
It does not make it unweird.
No, it does not at all, not at all. But you're right. It's the humps. But the one thing that I also look at too, which a lot of people, is look at the reviews, and also the reviews from I remember a while back about the reviews being skewed, or it could be bots.
Yeah,
that's the one thing that I try to I look at, but I kind of look at both. I look at, look at if it's legitimate or not. So that gives you an idea,
I try to read reviews. I have a
Yes.
policy that I'll go read reviews, and I'll say, show me the best and show me the worst. And I
Right.
look to see how many of them seem like they're not written by, they're written in English, but they don't seem to have been written by an English speaker, because those tend to be the scams. Because I get, I don't know if you get them, but I get them all the time, where I get emails to my press email where they're like, hey, so if you buy this on Amazon and then do a review, we'll credit you back for the purchase.
Yes.
I
All
get
the
it
time.
all the time, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to get reviews on Amazon by giving a free product, but you can't put a review until you've purchased it. Another thing that they do is that they will purchase it and ship it to random addresses,
Right.
and then they'll put the review in. There's a belief that that's what was happening with those Chinese seeds a couple of months back.
Okay. I was
Either that or
wondering
there's agricultural espionage.
Right.
Either one is possible. But if you looked at the packing slips, the seed said that in the package was something else. So they were probably buying the thing from their own store and then shipping something that was easy to ship to somebody that didn't matter.
Okay.
Because they didn't actually order it. Because you can put that in an envelope and send it as opposed to a box. And then they're writing their own product reviews. So that's why the product reviews get skewed on Amazon, because crap like that happens all the time.
Okay. Then
So I own an Amazon store, and I'm selling Xboxes. I buy with an account an Xbox, and I put your address in that I found on the internet. Just a random address that I found, and I buy it, and I say I'm shipping it to you, and then I get my money back. And then what I do is I ship you a pack of seeds, because the packing label exists. I have to complete the thing through Amazon, but the thing that you get doesn't matter because you didn't actually order it. So you throw it in the trash. Happens all the time. Now I can write my own review about my own product. It's so sketchy. So sketchy. I hate it. It's so bad. It's clever. It's diabolical, but it's clever.
Right.
It's like supervillain clever.
Right. Yeah, just being aware. Be aware of price. I definitely agree. Use camel. Again, I'm still giggling with this. With use camel. Definitely just compare pricing, and always and look at I look at I read the reviews too, but that's where I kind of gauge on because I'm looking to buy something even if my daughter or my wife and buying something, or anyone, I will make sure I carefully look at everything in detail, because excuse me, because something happens and you're paying X amount of dollars and you get the product, and then come to find out later, you look at it and you're pretty much screwed. So
yeah, and look for anomalies. Like if it's a pencil sharpener and there's 3,000 reviews, something's wrong.
Right.
No 3,000 people have ever reviewed a pencil sharpener. That's because nobody cares. If it doesn't work, it was $3. Nobody is going to go on Amazon and complain that they were screwed out of $3.
Right.
But you'll find things like pencil sharpeners with 3,000 reviews, and then you go read them, you're like, oh yeah, none of these are real.
Right.
So just look for anomalies, things that don't
Yep.
quite add up, and then look for people saying, hey, that's not what I received.
Mm-hmm.
And
Definitely
stay
good.
off of Wish.
Yep. Good. Yep. Good tips to know. All right. In gaming news, a team of researchers made up of computer scientists from Northwestern University in Illinois and the Delft, I'm probably mispronouncing it, University of Technology in Netherlands has developed a Game Boy that uses no batteries at all. Instead, all you need to play this Game Boy is officially called the Engage.
Nope. That's a Nokia phone.
It's a Nokia phone.
The Nokia Engage was a gaming phone. That's a terrible idea using that name. Sorry, continue.
Okay. There's some, all it needs some sunlight. The solar panels attached to the front of the device provide its primary source of power, with your button presses helping to generate additional power. There are some drawbacks. You can only get can only get 10 seconds of uninterrupted gameplay before it needs to shut down for about 1 second. It also can't play any sounds. But you can still play continuously thanks to an innovative framework for storing system state data to memory that allow you to pick up exactly where you left off. And it's more than a DIY project. The Engage, I'd like to know about the Nokia in a second. When they set out to build out their Game Boy, the Engage team wanted to show that it was possible to create an interactive device that doesn't need batteries. And there's a Josiah Hester, one of the computer scientists who worked on the project, called CNET, quote, "This could not have been possible even 4 or 5 years ago." After presenting their findings at the UBI conference on September 15th, the Engage team plans to continue working on their Game Boy. One thing they want to do is find a way to shorten their power interruptions. Okay, this is okay. Walk me through the Nokia. This was something that was a concept that was stolen.
Well, the Nokia and the name.
The name. Okay.
It's an unfortunate name to have chosen a name that was already used for a gaming product. The Nokia Engage was a Symbian-based phone that was designed. It looked like a smaller version of the Game Gear, the Sega Game Gear, significantly smaller, but it was Symbian powered because it was Nokia at the time. Cool little gaming device. I got one around here somewhere. I thought it was in this drawer. It's not, though.
Again, I knew I knew of all the devices you have. I just knew that was one of the many.
There's a purple box out of frame that it's in, almost certainly, because it's all old video game consoles. But the idea that it's got solar panels on it makes sense. That's not terribly unique of a concept. It isn't in context, but in concept, it's not. We all have a calculator with a solar panel on the front.
Right. Yep.
But the idea that they're taking the braking system from a Toyota, from a Prius, and implementing it in the buttons is clever.
Yeah,
because it's the same technology, guaranteed. It's the same concept that allows you to charge the battery in a Prius every time you brake. That they've just put it into the buttons on a handheld gaming control. That makes sense. I would like Microsoft to incorporate the same thing into the new Xbox controllers, please. It's because that's a really clever idea. That screen is no bigger than the person's thumbnail.
And if you're watching a live video, and no sound's going to come and put the sound off. It's a sound. Okay. This is
that is a huge device with almost no screen. It looks like a little Tamagotchi screen on a device that's the size of an actual Game Boy. But it's a prototype. It's not even a prototype because it's just them messing around right now. So you know what? Prototype level, that's really cool. The next couple of tasks, of course, will be to figure out how to make the button press more effective, and to make the solar panels more efficient. They're probably using cheap over the counter solar panels that they got on Wish or Amazon. What an interesting change in that video. How it seems like all of a sudden it went to the fires in LA.
Yeah, I was trying to back up. I was trying.
Uh-oh. I'm apparently gone again. Am I gone again?
Trying to back up the video, and
I'm back.
There we go. There we go.
But yeah, if they use more efficient solar panels, because like I said, they're probably using something cheap that they found online, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
If they used something, there's a lot of them. It's all around the little micro screen.
Mm-hmm.
So if they were to use something, contact Adafruit or somebody like that and get a more efficient panel, they figured out how to make the pressure of the buttons more effective for charging. I bet it wouldn't have to turn off every 10 seconds for a second. But it's prototype. They're just messing around, and they've made it work. It's pretty impressive.
It's pretty cool. And I saw that, and I'm like, that's really, but that's like a, those are like, let me go back to the video, right? Let's give me a couple seconds here. Okay. This is like this is a huge honking game, quote unquote Game Boy, especially these solar. It's insane.
It is physically about the same size as an actual Game Boy. Dimensionally, it's almost identical. Mm-hmm. They've even put the controls in the exact correct place for an original Game Boy. But the screen is smaller than a real Game Boy. But I'm not going to lie, it's still impressive. Mm-hmm. If they can make the screen the panels more efficient, make the buttons do more for power, and figure out how to decrease the power needs. See, that's so weird.
I don't know why it's jumping to the California wildfires. If you're watching the live video,
so weird. But maybe they could make the computer more efficient too. It might just be like a Raspberry Pi or something in there.
Mm-hmm.
In which case, they're dealing with the power they're dealing with. They had custom circuitry and stuff like that. They can cut the power consumption down too. There's potential for this.
I think Evram would dig that. I think he would dig that. So definitely, I don't have his email or he's on, but definitely pass that along to him because he would love it. He would definitely love it.
Yeah, he's gonna be all over that thing.
Mm-hmm. All right, very good. Speaking of nostalgia and speaking of PS5, we talked about, and Xbox. There's a documentary coming out called Console Wars. It's coming out on CBS All Access, and I have CBS All Access. And I'm gonna definitely watch this. It comes out on Wednesday, September 23rd. It's directed by Jonah Tullius and Blake J. Harris, who wrote the 2014 book of the same name. Includes interviews with Nintendo legend Howard Phillips, former Sega of America CEO Tom Kalinske, and I'm mispronouncing it, and many others who lived through the era of SNES, and Genesis. The press release states for the film, quote, was a once-in-a-lifetime, no-holds-barred conflict that pit brother against brother, kids against grown-ups, Sonic against Mario, and uniquely American capitalism against centuries-old Japanese tradition. Spit it out, Kirk. I cannot wait to watch this movie. Oh,
the book is great. Okay. I have it. The book is great. It is worth every page. And yeah, to see a documentary in that same vein would be great, especially being produced by the same guys. I can't without.
Yeah, I'm definitely
CBS All Access on its own.
Yeah, I'm definitely bookmarking it. I'm all like, because back in the day when, it was like, with the Microsoft and Sony, now the battle, you had back in the day, you had Nintendo, Sega, Atari. I mean, you had like all, duking it out for, console power.
Supremacy.
Supremacy. That's it. There you go. Thank you.
Back.
Supremacy. Thank you. And I was like, and I remember like people like, your eyes got big as saucers going to a video game store, and seeing all the, like, going through the various cartridges and
Real video game store like Babbage's,
oh
not like a GameStop, but something
right.
like a Babbage's.
Electronics boutique.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, poor EB Games.
Mm-hmm. Rest in peace.
They became part of GameStop. So sad.
Right. But
in fairness, I think GameStop started in a store like Babbage's. I think it was a software, etc. What did that change? Anyway,
right.
Yeah, you could go. There's a great image that goes around every once in a while, and it's been going around a lot right now because console wars are heating up again because consoles are coming, including a potential Switch 2 with 4K capabilities, which we might hear about in the next couple of weeks as well.
Yeah.
But it's a picture from an old E3. And it's the four companies side by side. So there's a Dreamcast logo, there's an N64 logo, there's the original Xbox and the original PlayStation logo, all in these big banners, just one after the other.
Right.
It says something to the effect of in the past the four tribes coexisted in peace or something like that. And it's so funny because obviously the Dreamcast was a commercial disaster despite being one of the best video game consoles of all time. And that was the end of Sega. And the N64, another one of the best consoles of all time. And then you've got the Xbox, which changed gaming with Xbox Live.
Oh yeah.
And then you have PlayStation, which brought Sony hardcore into gaming after their failed relationship with Nintendo. So even that was a rough time, and they were all nice to each other. Now we're basically down to two and the redheaded stepchild Nintendo.
See, and I got your back on that.
Microsoft and I was laughing in my own head at the accidental joke because their logo is red. You got Microsoft and Sony fans who are so mean to each other.
Oh, absolutely.
But in the past, all four coexisted. Many of us had all of them at the same time.
Yep. And the result, and again, back to the supremacy. And I had Atari, I had Sega Genesis, then I had the N64, and and I mean, there have been actual like battles with kids and young adults. Excuse me. It was never ending. Then it like slowly, then it like over the 80s into 90s, but now it's like, it's like Apple versus Android. You got the iFan boys, and with Android. So this is going to be this is going to be. I hope. Excuse me. I hope that if they're going to have another documentary for Console Wars 2 or the sequel, I would love to find out, just to pick their brain, to see the documentary, like something like that. That would be really cool. So if I'm putting a pitch out there, oh, absolutely. So we're going to put our pitch out now. So that if the producers want to, want to shoot a documentary, let us know. gncweekly.com/connect.
We're both on board. Let's do this.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Speaking in other nostalgic news in the video streaming space, Peacock is turning a reimagined modern day version of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and anyone who's watched that, raise their hands, or into a 2-season series. It's
at least 2 seasons.
At least. Yep.
It was picked up for 2 seasons without a pilot being filmed, which is impressive.
Very impressive. Which is that's unheard of in this day and age. Will Smith says, "quote We officially closed a deal with Peacock with an unprecedented 2-season ordering from a pitch. I've been in this business for 30 years, and that does not happen." And he's right that it hasn't happened. They ordered 2 full seasons of Bel Air based on the quality of the pitch. The series Bel Air will be an hour-long drama, which is very surprising, following the same characters from the original show. But each character from Will to Carlton, Uncle Phil has been reimagined for 2020. The project was pitched to streaming services last month, and according to Deadline starting a bidding war, Peacock and Netflix were reportedly the final contenders. Morgan Cooper, who came up with the idea for a Bel Air trailer, which will direct and co-executive produce the series, which he is co-writing with Chris Collins, an executive producer and showrunner. The show is also executive produced by Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Will Smith's Westbrook Studio and Universal Television. So,
if you have not seen this trailer,
okay,
everybody go watch it.
Okay,
it is fascinating. I am not. Okay, so imagine Riverdale versus the Archie comics, where Riverdale went in this weird dark direction with what was traditionally a more upbeat and funny world. That's exactly what happens here. It is a dark retelling of the story we already know, right down to the reason why Will gets sent to Bel Air is because the fight wasn't just a fight; he had a gun in his backpack.
If you're watching the live video, there's no audio, but if you're watching the live on audio, or we're showing the trailer on YouTube
live show.
On a live show.
So there's your gun.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't necessarily my go-to style. I don't necessarily like dark retellings of comedies, but this trailer is fascinating for so many reasons. The fact that somebody looked at what is really a ridiculous over-the-top comedy and figured out how to make it The Dark Knight is really impressive. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, for
sure. I will give this thing a shot. I don't know how good it will be because essentially I think 36 hour-long episodes versus a 3-minute trailer is very different. I don't know if they'll be able to keep the world feeling as realistic as this does, which is the difference. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air felt like an Archie comic. It was always over the top. It was always ridiculous. It was a 90s sitcom. It was over the top and dumb, and everybody loved it. And this feels like it's set in the real world, not set in that comic book that was the original show.
Right.
So I don't know how long they'll be able to maintain that real world feel. Archie has managed to do it for seasons and seasons now. So maybe they can do it, but it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, and it's good to see. It's a whole different narrative, without the laugh track and and the comic, the comic relief aspect. So, so it's real, and it's also again unheard of that it got for 2 seasons, no pilot
from a 3.5-minute trailer.
Exactly, and I've
never seen anything like it before.
I haven't either, and I follow the television business I follow very closely, and they put when they sell sell a series like Seinfeld, or they have to make sure that it's like they're all in, and if that the pilot stinks, forget it. And
Yeah.
Seinfeld ran for like years, you
9
know,
seasons.
right? And other like shows have doing very very well, but versus like the ABC show Cop Rock, and look how long that lasted. If you remember,
I don't even know what that is.
Cop Rock. Okay, it's kind of like NY. It's kind NY. It's like it's NYPD Blue esque, and it's like it's a musical basically.
What?
I can't. Honest to goodness. Honest to goodness, it only lasted for I think a few episodes, maybe a half a dozen, maybe. You have to see it. It's called Cop Rock. It was an ABC show. It was produced by the Stephen Botko. I think it was Stephen Bochco. That's how I pronounce his last name. He produced. It was his production company, and it was NYPD Blue esque, but it was a musical. It was like, if you know like any musical, like are you Scott's Scott, if you're watching a live video right now, for the audio listeners, he's pulling up Cop Rock right now, and
The mixture of musical performances with serious drama was a critical and commercial failure. TV Guide ranked it number 8 on its list of the 50 worst TV shows of all time. Wow. I need to see that list.
yeah,
I'm sorry, I have completely lost interest in the topic that we're talking about. Page cannot be found. Oh,
let me see
that is disappointing. I wanted to see the 50 worst shows of all time from TV Guide. Oh my goodness.
All right, what I'll do is
Okay, that's fascinating. Yeah, I had never heard of it.
Okay, here's all right, I'm gonna pull up right now. This is we're just going on, we're going off on a so this is Cop Rock. If you're watching a live video right now, I'm not playing the audio because I don't want to get taken down. But this is the very first episode of Cop Rock. Let me see if I can pull up the okay. Okay.
It's ABC, so it's Disney. I wonder if it's on a Hulu.
Good question. I'll have to check and see. Let me see if I can pull up.
It was booted after 11 episodes, including the pilot.
Okay, I thought it was okay. Half a dozen. Okay, 11. That's not right. Okay, wait. Here, let me see if I can.
That doesn't necessarily mean they all aired.
Right.
That means that 11 were produced. I haven't.
Right.
Nope, they were all aired.
Let me see if I can.
But they threw them. They threw them away. There was one right at Thanksgiving. There was one the day after Christmas. It took them months to air 11 episodes.
All right, so I'm trying to fast forward on. If you're watching a live video, if you're listening on audio, I'm trying to fast forward. But there's one where she is singing, and I can't. The closed captioning is not.
Okay. So the 4th episode of this show. Yeah, we've totally lost the plot here, but it doesn't matter. The 4th episode of this show is called A 3-Corpse Meal. The 5th episode is called The Cocaine Mutiny. What? Pots don't fail me now. Marital Blitz. BLITZ. No noose is good news. Oh, you couldn't have an episode with that name today, because
Right.
I don't know if that's suicide or a hanging, but either way, that you couldn't have that episode name on the air today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and IMDb's got nothing. What's the episode about? We don't know. IMDb's like, you're just glad we even know what this is.
That was my fault to get into this rabbit hole, but I was trying to make a point.
It's okay. Fun tangents.
I cannot believe. Oh, I'm definitely showing my age. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
It was only 1990.
I know, but
not like it was 1970.
True. I know, but even still, I mean, I just find it comical that I saw this show. I didn't get it. I was understanding why is it like a musical? I mean, I'm all for musicals, but
it seems like the general consensus. Everybody's like, what is this? Seems like even the network was confused as to why they were airing it.
So as far as that's why it goes back to they have they pitch these shows, they have the pilot and they're all in. If it doesn't do well, it's gone. Case in point, Rock. So
yeah.
So I mean, it's good. It's good to know that that they're liking.
They're committed to this.
Exactly, and
with no consumer or reviewer support yet.
Right.
They're committed to it. They've purchased 2 full seasons, which a full season can be anywhere from for a streaming service can be 10 episodes or up. My guess is it's probably 10 to 16.
Right.
So we're looking at 20 to 30 episodes of this guaranteed.
Mm-hmm. And
without anything.
Right. And also too, just with Peacock, not to toot their horn, but Peacock, from what I've seen, I'm gonna try it out and say that they have the original series. David Schwimmer's has a series. I think there's 1 or 2 more. I think. Oh, they have Psych is on Peacock with the original movie. What else?
They've got a lot of original content on Peacock.
Yeah, so I'm gonna definitely. I know I mentioned I was gonna check it out, but
start with the free.
Okay,
because you can watch so much stuff ad supported the way Hulu used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like I watched all of Sliders. Now I've seen all of Sliders dozens of times and I own it, but I don't know what it is about the ease of having it all integrated into a thing where I can watch it on my computer and then walk away from the computer and go turn on the Xbox and it picks up where I left off and then grab on the phone and go around and watch it. Something nice about the convenience of that, but not everything is on the free version, but there's so much stuff on the free version, it's unbelievable.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
And there's so much weird stuff. Like you'll be like, wait, I'm sorry, Everybody Hates Chris? I forgot about that show. So yeah. What did I find that was on here? Carol Burnett. The old Carol Burnett show is on Peacock. I was so excited about that. That's next.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'm gonna do that a little bit later. Okay. All right. And next in the do you need your help with your tech this week? And pull up the video. Okay. Over on AndroidCentral.com, the 22 common VPN terms explained. So if you have no idea what VPN is, which is a virtual private network, they'll give you a list on and hashtag sponsor for ExpressVPN for Plugins Live or it's PushPoint. It's the sponsor.
Pure VPN.
Pure VPN. Excuse me. Pure VPN. Get my VPNs mixed up.
That's okay.
So we have anonymity. There's BitTorrent. DNS hijacking, DNS leak, encryption. We all know about encryption. So I'll link. There's a full list here.
So privacy and geo restrictions are my two favorite parts of what we call a VPN, which isn't a VPN; it's a proxy. But
right,
whatever. We will continue to use the term that they're using in the public, and that's VPN. So you protect your browsing, but you can also get around geo restrictions. So let's say my best example is when we were in Toronto for Collision last year. It was the series finale of Game of Thrones, and Danielle had a Hulu subscription with HBO so that she could watch it, and it was like, nope, you're in Canada. Sad story. But we fired up Pure VPN, said that we were in Tampa, and Hulu was like, yeah, you're in Tampa, no worries, and everything worked again.
Hooray!
Success for VPN.
Yes. All right. Also, next up, over on AndroidCentral.com, the special edition. Here are all the special edition Android phones you can buy right now. Which, for whatever reason, when we slap the word edition, well, that's a whole different. That's a whole different story altogether.
There's a video for the Surface Duo up there.
Oh, jeez. A very honking. Where's that?
It's going to play on the right there where that car is.
Oh, okay.
It's an ad right now, but that's going to be a Surface Duo review in just a minute.
There we go. All right, moving right along.
There you go.
Okay.
There's my buddy.
There's your buddy. We're not going to play the whole thing here.
No. All right. So what have we got? I know we've got a Star Wars special edition phone. Oh, a BTS.
Why?
Okay. They are one of the most popular music groups on the planet right now. They're a fan group of theirs got behind our fundraiser for the Drew Project last year. Why? I have no idea. They didn't exist. But whatever. They're super popular. It's not my music, but whatever.
Either. But hey, again, different strokes for different folks.
Absolutely.
All right.
What other cool stuff have we got?
Let me back this out here. The OnePlus 7T Pro McLaren edition.
I think that's already been discontinued. I think I read that was already discontinued. But that doesn't mean it's not out there.
No. The Oppo Find 2 Pro Lamborghini edition. I don't think that's in America. I don't believe.
A lot of these don't make it here officially. Yeah. You have to get them unlocked.
And it's almost $3,000. So
that's okay. There's a pre-order for a diamond encrusted iPhone 12, which won't be announced until next week. That is like $12,000 or something. Whatever.
Holy moly. OMG.
People will spend money on all kinds of weird stuff.
Well, they can have it. And lastly, over on cnet.com, there's a guide on how to connect. You know what? Heck with it. I'm gonna say it. Alexa. You know what? I'm gonna jump on your bandwagon stuff. Anytime that we're gonna do when there's news and tech news, and I see Alexa, the heck with it. Alexa. I might as well, when in doubt, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. So. So I'm gonna go do with that. All right, cool.
So this is a setup guide. That's good.
Yes. Yep. It's how to connect Alexa to Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and more, and it'll walk you through step by step on how to do that. The Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and so on and so on and so on and so on. And
speaking of how-tos, we've talked a lot about the Monster Luminescence products. I've got some how-tos coming, hopefully this coming week on how to use those.
Cool. Excellent.
I've had a lot of people ask. They're like, "How do I pair these things?"
Mm-hmm.
I got your back.
Awesome. Awesome. So that'll be on plugitslive.com, and it's under what feed?
It'll be under how to.
How to? Okay. I know you rebranded it, the one part, right? Was it rebranded at one time? I thought it was on a one feed, and then they changed it, or
I mean, First Looks came out of the special events feed, but how to was created because of the unboxing.
got it. Okay. Okay.
I had never intended to do how to's. They are way too much work. But so many people saw the monster unboxings and they're like, "Hey, so that's great. How do I pair these?" I got your back.
Good.
And now we're in generation 2 and we did the unboxing. They're like, how do we pair these? All right, that's fine.
Well, it's good that you're providing awareness, and they want to know how to do it. So basically, as far as what do you need help with your tech, we can definitely throw that in, from time to time. If we'll definitely, and even better, excuse me. Scott will pass me along, and I'll throw up a link up in the show notes on that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, and
they'll be ready for next show.
Cool. Excellent. All right. And finally, speaking of nostalgia, now it was unfortunate that Scott missed the last 2 weeks of the glazed donut that got glazed 25 times, the Krispy Kreme. It was the last week's episode on Bear sneaking up going into a grocery store, convenience store, and chowing down on some food. So that went viral, but this one really stood out. So speaking of the nostalgia, the Recording Industry Association of America, and this really fascinated me because I was blown away with this. The Recording Industry Association of America has released its mid-year report on the state of the U.S. music industry. The report indicates for the first time since the 1980s, and I am showing my age, vinyl outsold CDs. Vinyl album sales rose by 4% from the first half of 2019 to $232 million. That accounts for 62% of physical revenue during the first 6 months of the year, but just 4% of the overall revenue from recorded music. Overall physical sales fell to $376 million at a drop from 22% year over year. Reasons for that include people not visiting music stores, artists not touring, not selling CDs at shows, and millions of people losing jobs and entertainment budgets because of the COVID-19 pandemic. I was fascinated that people, and I know what vinyl is, and I know what CDs are. And there's some people that are like, if there's some young viewers watching or listeners watching, what are CDs?
Yeah, true.
CDs is a round disc.
They look very similar to the games you put in your Xbox or your PlayStation.
Thank you. And there's the gaming component.
We'll bring it back.
Right, exactly.
Top and bottom of the show. It's fine.
Yep. We're all bringing it all together. Yeah. And then there's vinyl, which is a large honking red disc that you stick onto a turntable, and some DJs have there's DJs probably have a turntable where you can do Sorry.
Thank you for that. Highlight of the show right there. Thank you.
No problem. See, anything to please, I'm here for you. And you take a needle, and there's a lyric into that, and you put it down on the record, and it plays, and there's little grooves that picks up the sound, the lyrics, etc. And from what I understand, if you watch the Simpsons episode, and you play the song backwards, you can hear a good wicked case for wicked for lentil soup. So watch that on The Simpsons, available on Hulu.
Fascinating. Actually, it might only be on Disney Plus.
Okay, sorry. Okay, Disney Plus. So, wrong streaming service.
Same owner.
Same owner. Right. Why am
Disney owns both of them.
Good point. Right. Why am I bring up Hulu? I have no idea. Anyway,
it used to be exclusive to Hulu.
Exactly. And now it's on FXX, and which goes back to Disney Plus. But this is gonna be this is comical at the end of the show. So I always try, like I said, we want to bring to the podcast and the and finally segment something to think about, some humor. So we got this all good, wrapped up in a nice little bow. So going back to
records,
right?
I'm not surprised. I'm honestly not surprised that records are selling high. Because even some of my favorite musicians have special edition vinyls out. I bought one. Now, granted, I'm outside of the norm for my age group. I have several turntables. But I purchased a modern record on vinyl. So, and I'm obviously not alone. There's obviously a lot of people doing it. We've even seen video game soundtracks come out on special edition vinyl recently.
Yep.
So they're always special edition, limited prints, limited pressings. So that makes them desirable from a collector's standpoint and more expensive.
Right.
So a $14 CD versus a $50 special edition limited run pressing of vinyl. Even if they sold the same, it's not about numbers, it's about dollars.
Right.
Right. You'd have to sell 4 of the CDs to Kitty Cat Wants Attention.
Yeah.
Before you'd overcome the sales of the record. You'd have to sell 4 to 1. So I mean, I get it. It makes sense.
Yeah,
I've fallen victim to it myself.
Because I didn't really have records. My parents did. Had a good selection. But I remember I had CDs. And I had back in the day, you had those CD towers, and they were like at least a good 2, 3, 4 feet high. And when I moved from where I used to live, this was 5 years ago, so I had like, I can't remember how many CDs. I mean, but it was like the towers, like 2, 3. If you remember back in the day, going back to hearken to, if you go to a sound store, a music store, and they still probably do. They have the furniture and they have the CD towers, and you can actually can. So, and I remember having them had the CD tower, and when I moved, I was like, I had no place to put them. I didn't have a CD player. Well, I did have a CD player, but it was like, not in its best shape. So I had to basically, it hurt me to say that, get rid of them. So I went to, actually, to be honest, no, scratch that, because I went to, there's a place in Princeton, New Jersey, that buys and sells CDs. So luckily I was able to take them, but also I had DVDs. Now, if you don't know what DVDs are, think about Netflix back in the day. Also,
it did come in a red envelope. Oh, wait. That's actual Netflix.
Yeah, right. Had the disc, and it was similar to the Sega Genesis, where
it's like a Blu-ray, but in lower quality.
Right. Again, full circle. And I had, and actually, I don't know if you know, Todd mentioned that his entertainment library and his internet is not that great where he lives. So he was looking for his listeners and for some help. So as his EP, I had DVDs that I would want to get rid of for like God knows how long. All Simpsons box sets. So so my wife says to me, I don't think he'll like him. I look, I said, who doesn't like The Simpsons?
Right.
So so I mailed it to him. So and a couple other movies and everything like that. But I just found it really fascinating that people are still buying vinyl.
Buying vinyl again.
Right.
Because it was a long time where they weren't, but it's back. And it's back hardcore. At CES 2015, I interviewed a company who saw this coming. It was a stupid name. Yes, It Is was the name of the company.
That was the name of it. Yes, It Is.
Uh-huh.
Oh, jeez.
But the product name was better.
Right.
But essentially what it was a connected record. It had an NFC in it, so you could touch your phone to it and get digital versions of the music. Okay. But you also got the vinyl. So you got both, which I thought was a pretty cool idea. So they saw this coming. They knew this was coming because apparently in France, this happened like 5 or 6 years ago where vinyl outsold CDs. And it's apparently been that way steady ever since. And but this is the first time it's happened globally.
Okay.
It's fascinating.
It is. That's what
I can't say it's too weird because again, I fell victim to it myself.
Right. No, it's not weird at all. It's not weird at all. And like you, I find it fascinating that, because I'm like, we're all in this, streaming world.
Right.
Be it, music and, with podcasts and everything, and all that.
Physical ownership is a strange concept.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. In
general, you've got Netflix and Hulu, you've got Spotify and Apple Music. It's just physical media ownership is a strange concept. We lease it today, but sometimes you want to support the artists more. That's why I did it.
Right,
because I'm a big fan of this guy Watsky. I wanted to support him. I knew that the record didn't cost him $50 to print, So I decided I wanted to support an artist that I like. Right. But I mean, I listened to his music on Spotify.
Right.
But that wasn't the point. So, but that's cool. It's a weird year. 2020 is a weird year.
It's been a weird year without question. All right. That is the tech news for this week for Friday, September 11th, 2020. Thank you so much for tuning in for this week's episode. Show notes from this week's episode can be found at gncweekly.com. Also, be sure to check out the latest tech news and commentary from the geeknewscentral.com, and be sure to tune in Mondays and Thursday evenings at geeknewscentral.com/live for the Geek News Central podcast. And then be sure to tune in and watch at gncweekly.com/live Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So please be sure to like and subscribe to the GNCWIR channel on YouTube, or be sure to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast app, and be sure to tune in with Scott and Abram Pilch on F5 Refreshing Technology Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern at plugitslive.com. There you go, at plugitslive.com/join us. If you have a comment on this week's episode, we would love to hear them, be it how old you are and when did you first purchase vinyl, and your favorite failed TV show.
When did you first purchase and when did you last purchase?
Okay.
I'm really interested in when you last purchased.
Okay.
Because mine was 6 weeks ago.
Mine was 2014. And okay. it was what was it? It was Paul McCartney's from US tour.
Nice.
and I have it on Amazon. uh, so here's okay. So what I'm gonna do is Scott or I will put that up on our GNC Weekly Facebook and Twitter. When was the last time you purchased the CD or a vinyl, and what was it? And we'll love to hear from you about that. So you can let us know via gncweekly.com/connect, be it email, Twitter, or Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm at Kirk Corliss. Scott is on Twitter at TTMABO. Till the next episode of GNC Week in Review. So long.
Ciao.